After winning $100 million in the lottery, I quit my job and returned home. As soon as I reached the door, I heard my brother Alejandro's wife Camila speaking. "Mom, I want to buy a villa. Talk to Elena so she pays the down payment." My mother replied, "She just finished paying the mortgage on this house last week. She probably doesn't have money." Camila scoffed, "Have you forgotten already? Alejandro likes that Elena marries him and then you ask her for $1 million. My father added, "That's a good idea. The villa will be my grandson's wedding house." Camila continued, "By the way, Dad, Mom, when Elena comes back, tell her to move out. My brother is coming and will live in her room." It was the first time I heard their conversation. I never expected him to be so ungrateful. I lifted my head and held back my tears, feeling deeply hurt. The draft in the hallway made me shiver. I stood outside the door for a long moment before taking a deep breath and opening it. "I have told you many times to be more careful when entering. My son is sleeping. Don't forget again." Camila looked at me with contempt, then turned to my parents, winking. My father asked coldly, "Why did you come back so early today? Didn't you say they would pay you for overtime? Why aren't you still working?" "I was fired," I said with no expression. Everyone was shocked. My brother Alejandro was the first to jump up. "What? Why were you fired? Is it because you angered Victor by rejecting him?" Victor was my direct boss. He was stingy, harsh, and difficult. During the years I worked for him, the pressure was so great that I suffered frequent insomnia and hair loss. Every time I complained to my family, they scolded me for exaggerating. After a while, I stopped telling them anything. I didn't want to talk anymore, so I turned and headed to my room. But my mother stopped me. When she heard I was unemployed, her face changed immediately. "Pack your things and move out tomorrow. Camila's brother will live here." "Why should I leave my room for him? I bought this house. I'm not going anywhere." My father became furious. "What do you mean? You have to move out." Camila seized the moment and added, "That's right. Just because you paid for the house, you think you're the owner? You'll get married sooner or later and leave anyway. I warn you, don't even think about it." Alejandro took my suitcase from the room and pushed it toward me. "It's decided. We're just informing you. Stop talking nonsense and get out of here." My parents had always despised me since birth, while Alejandro used to be kind to me. But since he married, he changed completely and did everything Camila told him. Camila had always been cold to me and took out her bad mood on me. My parents and Alejandro always looked the other way. No one had ever been on my side. I thought we were family, and if I was good enough to them, they would eventually change. I worked hard to earn money and buy this big house, but in the end I became the most unwanted person. "This house is mine. I'm not moving." After saying that, I dragged the suitcase back to my room, took out the clothes and hung them one by one in the closet again. Camila said sarcastically, "Dad, Mom, look, your daughter has grown so much that she doesn't care about anyone anymore." My father was furious and rushed to slap me, but I grabbed his arm and he couldn't move. "Dad, don't be angry. You always told me what I said was wrong." Camila shouted, "You're completely wrong. This is the Castillo family house. You must obey your parents." My mother came to calm my father and complained softly. "Elena, I don't want to blame you, but we just want you to move for a few days. Why are you making such a big fuss?" "A few days, Mom? Don't think I don't know. Camila just found a new job for her brother, so she plans for him to stay a long time. This is my house. Why should I give it to strangers?" "Strangers? How can he be a stranger? Since I married Alejandro, his brother is also your family. You must treat him like your brother." Camila waved her arms excitedly while speaking. "Treating him like my brother? Ridiculous. That my parents Alejandro and Camila took advantage of my money was one thing, but why should I have to spend money on Camila's lazy brother? They really treated me like a fool. Camila, you are really shameless. My parents didn't want to give me the key to that small house I bought before, right? Your parents live there, don't they?" Camila replied arrogantly. My parents and brother just watched with no intention of stopping her. I looked at them one by one. "You're determined to kick me out, right?" Camila said through gritted teeth, "Yes. You don't plan to give back those 2 houses, right?" My father looked at me furiously. "Nonsense. Don't even think for a second about those houses. They don't belong to you and it's not your decision. We'll see." I felt desperate and suddenly didn't want to stay a minute longer. I didn't want to waste more time arguing with them. It was a small matter that could be solved by hiring a lawyer. I took nothing with me and left the house. That suitcase had been discarded by Alejandro and the old clothes were given to me by Camila because she didn't want them anymore. I didn't want them either. I went to the best 5-star hotel in the city and consulted the best lawyer. I had paid the down payment and mortgage on the houses. The lawyer said it wouldn't be difficult to get them back. After hanging up the phone, I felt depressed and upset. I wanted to cry but couldn't. My parents had always favored Alejandro because he was the son. If it weren't for my grandparents paying for my education, I wouldn't have even finished high school. After being accepted to university, I worked up to 4 jobs at once, sometimes so exhausted I fell asleep standing. After graduating, I got a full-time job during the day and a part-time job at a fast food restaurant at night. I worked hard for years, saving every cent, and finally managed to move my parents and Alejandro out of my grandparents' old house. I thought after buying the 2 houses life would be easier and more comfortable. But unexpectedly I was kicked out of the house overnight simply because I lost my job. They turned their backs on me completely. How ridiculous. Family love could disappear in an instant. But at least I was lucky in another way. I looked at the balance in my bank account and couldn't help but smile. I still had $100 million, a sum I couldn't spend in 10 lifetimes. I bought a luxury villa with sea views in an upscale area. Now I woke up when I wanted, did yoga and watched television. Life was extremely comfortable. There was a group of homeowners in the villa community. After joining, everyone welcomed me enthusiastically. They were all wealthy ladies and every day they talked about makeup, clothes and such. Before I wasn't interested in those topics, but now my mindset had changed. With money in the bank, I told myself I should pamper myself and enjoy life. So I joined their conversations enthusiastically. In a few days I became friends with them and often made plans to go out for coffee or shopping together. I was in a luxury store with my new friends when suddenly my father called furiously. "You ungrateful girl, we received court summons and the neighbors are mocking us. If I had known you would be like this, I should have caused your downfall when you were born." My mother took the phone and began to cry hysterically. "We only had some arguments. Why do you have to make such a big deal? Now we're so embarrassed in the community. They almost believe we treated you badly." I couldn't help but let out a sarcastic laugh. Wasn't it true? They had never treated me well and now they even kicked me out of my own house. Since I was a child, I always had endless household chores as soon as I got home. But I never minded because we were family. After Alejandro got married and especially when they had a baby, I had even more things to do and got tired every day. No matter how kind I was to them, my parents and Camila were always dissatisfied. They really treated me like a free servant. My friends used to joke that I must have owed them something in my previous life because I worked like a slave to pay a debt. I could only smile bitterly. "Elena, we gave you life and raised you. It's a great favor. What more do you want?" "I don't want anything more than justice." After saying that, I hung up the phone. My friends and I continued enjoying our shopping. Just when we were about to leave the mall, I saw Camila walking and laughing with a middle-aged man. They looked like a loving couple. When Camila saw me, she got scared and quickly moved away from the man. "Elena, are you spying on me? I didn't expect you to be that kind of person. Why don't you go find a job instead of following me?" Seeing her guilty expression, I wasn't angry but laughed. "I have no hurry to find a job and I'm not interested in following you. Who do you think you are?" At that moment, my friend Sophia couldn't hold it anymore. "Who is this lady Elena?" Sophia asked. "She's my brother's wife," I replied. Sophia recognized the man immediately. "Rafael, you're seeing a married woman. Aren't you afraid your wife will find out?" Camila rolled her eyes and lied. "I'm not his brother's wife." "She's talking nonsense. I'm Rafael's employee. Our relationship is not what you think. Don't misunderstand." Rafael also waved his hands desperately, trying to distance himself. Camila threatened me. "Elena, I warn you, if you tell Alejandro, I'll make you regret it." Right at that moment, Alejandro appeared. He had come with his boss to shop and seeing us arguing from afar, he ran over. "Elena, I warn you, don't make Camila angry. She's pregnant with our second child. If she gives birth to a boy, it will be a great contribution to our family." "Our family? Since the day they kicked me out, I no longer have anything to do with you." Alejandro's expression changed immediately. "That's not for you to decide. You're very foolish. Even if you win the case against our parents, you'll still have to pay maintenance anyway. Those 2 houses are ours, so the maintenance is nothing to us." At the mention of the houses, Camila lost control. "Those 2 houses are ours. Don't think you're going to take them." Camila had always been irrational. I had worked very hard to buy those houses and now I was just taking them back. "I've hired a lawyer and I'll recover the houses soon. You two should go home and start packing your things. Think about where you're going to live in the future." Camila became so furious that her face turned red. She turned and slapped Alejandro. "Are you going to let Elena humiliate me like this? What's wrong with you?" Then Alejandro tried to hit me, but my friends surrounded him and stopped him immediately. One of my friends looked at Camila with disdain and said, "Why don't you take your husband out of here? You can't afford to make enemies with these women. We all live in the villa community." Camila looked at me surprised. "How did you get together with them? Are you working as a servant for them?" Sophia glared at her and replied with contempt, "Servant? Elena is our neighbor. Did you rent a villa? Where did you get the money? Did you marry Victor secretly and he gave you money?" Camila asked incredulously. Sophia laughed sarcastically. "Elena's villa is not rented. She bought it with cash." Alejandro and Camila were stunned. When Alejandro and Camila stood frozen upon discovering that I bought the mansion with cash, I felt an indescribable pleasure running through my veins. But that wasn't enough. They deserved more than just a surprise. They deserved to feel the weight of the contempt I had endured for years. With a smile mixing disdain and superiority, I turned to my friends and said, "Let's go, girls. I think I've wasted too much time with worthless people." As we started walking, I heard Alejandro's voice trembling with anger. "Elena, do you think you're going to get away with this? You have nothing. Those houses are ours, and I swear you'll end up begging like you always should have been. Don't pretend you're in a better position now, because you're not. You've always been a burden." I stopped in the middle of the path and looked at him from a distance with a mix of pity and contempt. "Alejandro, do you really think you're going to come out of this as the victim? You're married to a woman who lies, cheats, and manipulates, and you deceive yourself thinking you're superior to me. Camila treats you like a puppet and everyone knows it. You know what's the saddest? Despite being the favorite of our parents, you never managed to build anything for yourself. I bought the houses, I paid for the comfortable life you lead, and now when the ground begins to shake under your feet, the only thing you can do is threaten me. How pathetic." Alejandro had no words, but Camila, furious, advanced toward me, her face completely distorted by anger. "You think you're better than us just because you had the luck to win the lottery? You're a loser, Elena. You always were and always will be. Nothing will change the fact that you're a bitter, lonely spinster." I took a deep breath and for a moment thought about letting her continue with her insults. But then I realized I had endured enough my whole life. I approached close enough for her to see the firmness in my eyes, and with a controlled but full of contempt voice I replied, "Maybe I'm single, Camila, but at least I'm free. Free from an unhappy marriage with a man who treats me like trash, and from a family that never valued me. Now look at yourself. You're trapped in a life built on lies, manipulations, and deceptions. You think you have control, but in reality you're a prisoner of your own actions. Keep making your threats. Keep deceiving yourself. In the end, the one who will end up alone will be you." Before Camila could reply, one of my friends, Sophia, approached and put a hand on my shoulder. "Elena, don't waste your time with these people. Let's go." As we walked away, I heard Camila explode with rage. "You're going to regret this, Elena. I swear I'll destroy you." I didn't look back but turned to Sophia and smiled. What a pathetic spectacle. That night when I got home, I opened a bottle of wine and allowed myself to relax on the terrace of my new mansion. The sea breeze caressed my face, and for the first time in a long time I felt truly at peace. However, something inside me was still restless. I knew the legal battle would be resolved and I would recover the houses, but that was no longer enough. They needed to learn the hard way that I was no longer the naive girl they could control. The next morning I called my lawyer and asked him to speed up the processes against my parents and my brother. In a few days the court summons arrived at their doors, and soon I saw them squirming under the weight of justice. But that was only the beginning. I hired private detectives to investigate every move of Camila and Alejandro. I knew Camila had more things to hide besides that encounter with Rafael, and I wanted all possible evidence. It didn't take long before I received the results. Camila was not only having a forbidden relationship with Rafael, but also with another man, and worst of all, she was diverting money from their joint account to finance her own luxuries. When I received this information, I knew it was time to use it against her. I organized a reconciliation dinner with my family, sending formal invitations for them to meet me at a luxury restaurant. I knew they would come. Curiosity and fear of losing any chance to reverse the situation would bring them to me. On the day of the dinner, I dressed in my best dress, the one that exuded power and control, and prepared for the show. When my parents Alejandro and Camila arrived, their faces were tense, full of expectation. Camila seemed particularly nervous, which only made me smile inside. They sat at the table and I began to speak calmly. "I've thought a lot about everything that's happened between us, and I reached the conclusion that maybe you're right. Maybe I exaggerated a bit." I saw the relief in their eyes, especially in Camila's, who immediately tried to capitalize on the situation. "See, I knew you would understand, Elena. We're family and we shouldn't be fighting like this. I knew deep down you knew what was right." I almost laughed out loud but held back. I looked directly into Camila's eyes and with a cold smile. "Before you continue, maybe you want to see this."